Hey, welcome to the Social 333 podcast. I'm your host, Chris Bentley. Today, my guest is Tom Foster Jr. Tom, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Chris. It's great to be here.
Awesome. Tell the audience a little bit about yourself and what you got going on.
Well, I've been doing marketing for 30 years now. I started out Marine Corps, spent 6 years in the Marine Corps, was a top secret communication center guy. And when I got out of that, I got in the software business, doing translation software, selling translation software, cold calling people on the phone. It was not very fun. But I built a system that was a fax system where I faxed out to all of the translation or language professors in all the universities about our translation software. And this was DOS way back when. This is, early 90s. And I would get orders for it.
Nice.
In the morning, I'd come back and there's a stack of orders, and people loved it, and it was great. And I got promoted through that, and then I ended up getting into distribution. So I was the guy that put box software in CompUSA. Remember CompUSA? Where you had to go out and buy software. And I did that for a while and made my bones there and learned a lot about sales and marketing. And then the internet came, and that put box software out of business. And so I was a man without a plan for a little bit. I was unemployed, as a matter of fact. And then I decided to went to work for my mother-in-law, who owned a court reporting company, and built her a website. Because I met some of the very first, because I was in the software business, some of the very first internet guys.
Pioneers.
Right? Yeah, the pioneers of the internet and website building. And so I was like, okay, we got to build a website, which was brand new back then. And so I did that, and we were offering trial presentation and video depositions, and I did another fax out to our 700 lawyers that we had on our list, and I got 2 responses. The first one, I got sued for unsolicited faxing.
Wow.
So there you go. And then the second one was by a guy named Ben Glass, who was a lawyer in Fairfax, Virginia, PI lawyer. He loved what I was doing. He brought me in there. And he and I hit it off fast, and he was a kind of a lawyer marketer. And that's what introduced me into the world of lawyers. And through him, I met tons of other lawyers. And that was 30 years ago.
Wow.
And I've just helped thousands of lawyers and doctors since then, get the biggest cases. I told you one of my biggest clients is Hupy and Abraham up in Milwaukee.
Nice.
You have the William Shatner stuff in here, and he's he does their commercials for them. But when we first started with them, they only had 1 office in Milwaukee, and now they have 11 offices in 3 states.
Wow.
And they've grown. They've just exploded. I mean, they're doing $2 billion in case value.
Wow.
So
that's really cool. So your ideal clients is mostly doctors, lawyers?
Lawyers and doctors. And doctors, specifically podiatrists, interestingly enough, the feet doctors. And there's not that many of them in the country, believe it or not. There's only like 16,000 of them in the country. And we got about 100 of them. And I've been able to speak at conferences with podiatrists, and we've gotten a lot of great ones. We've gotten these guys off of insurance, and so it's cash only, so they make a lot more money. They're way more successful. A lot of my clients have been able to grow their practice and then sell it, for what they want to do. So I'm very proud of my people, my clients, and the success that they've had.
So talk to me a little bit about the perfect practice system that you got.
Yeah, the perfect practice system is really a culmination of all the years of doing this. Because I started out as just a marketer, right? And people would come to us, and we would do their website and SEO. And that was really how we got started. I wasn't a big believer in the early days in pay-per-click or any of that, but I've changed my tune about that because it's pay-per-click. Conversion advertising is very important. Google places it way up high, so it's a big part of it. But really, what I learned is that marketing isn't going to do it for you alone. You have to have other systems in place as you grow, because you can market yourself and be very successful, but then not have the support, right? Not have the resources to fulfill your customers or your clients. And so the perfect practice system is really a combination of all the aspects that are required to run a law firm or a podiatry practice or a doctor's office. And so it's combining marketing together with operations, with finance, with your staff, with your administration, and making all those systems work together. And so it's built in phases: phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, and it just depends upon where you are. And some people come in, they're already here. They're already at phase 4 with the perfect practice system. They already got all their systems in place. But most of the people are usually in phase 1. They just have marketing. They've got some operations going on, but they're not able to staff up quickly because that's what happens is when you start marketing yourself successfully, you're going to grow, and you have to have the staff to support it.
Absolutely. I was just jotting down some notes. So one of the biggest questions I have is like, what kind of marketing? Like, what do you recommend for these lawyers? We have I don't know if you noticed, we have the Texas Hammer guy,
Yeah,
right?
of
And
course.
he's got hammers and sledgehammers. And we got
Yeah.
guys standing next to semi trucks saying they'll get billions of dollars for you if you get hit by a semi truck or whatever, right? Some of the
that works for some people.
The wildest stuff. I've seen some people sue, some lawyers sue each other because their billboard is similar to another person's billboard.
They're pretty vicious.
I think it's like a big ego trip, because I think I looked into some of the marketing for billboards, and something like 10,000 to 30,000, depending on the spot. It can vary, obviously, depending on where, but.
And they buy them forever. They'll buy them for 10 years.
Yeah, I thought it was just really interesting. Well, they'll buy, for those that don't really understand it, they buy the graphic, and then the graphic gets put up, right?
Right.
Like you've seen the old stuff where it gets put up with a pole, and then it stays up there. I think it's UV protected ray stuff. It's pretty high tech stuff, but yeah, it's a long term.
Right, long term, exactly, because
right.
they don't want their competition grabbing those.
Yep. So what kind of marketing do you advise for people that are podiatrists or doctors and lawyers? Because I've seen and heard some of the wildest stuff, and I've seen buses covered with stuff. And we've had some marketing people on. I do a lot of marketing, obviously, because I sell real estate. That stuff I've never done on a billboard, but seeing my grill on, or my face on a billboard. And I think I'm a reasonably attractive guy. I don't think that's going to get the calls coming in kind of deal. So, what do you kind of recommend in this day and age of just kind of the internet, AI?
Yeah. Well, it starts with your website. It starts there. And it starts with SEO, which search engine optimization, making sure that you're found for those keywords. Because people go to Google and now they go to AI to type in their questions, right? Instead of going to Google and saying, I need a good lawyer for my injury that I had on I-95 or whatever. I was hit by a tractor trailer truck, this is catastrophic injury. They're going to Google and they're going to ChatGPT and they're going to Claude, and that's where they're going now to ask those questions. The billboards, sure, they work, but that's high end. I mean, you've got to be a mill practice to be doing that stuff. You know what I mean? You're churning and burning cases. You're getting all those little accidents and stuff like that. So billboards work for the big firms, mostly PI firms, but there's, lots of other types of lawyers, divorce lawyers, family law lawyers, estate planning lawyers, DUI lawyers. Those guys do some billboard stuff too, but generally, those kinds of lawyers are going to be found on the web. And so your website is your hub. That's the most important thing. That's the most important resource, your most important asset, and that thing's got to work. And so, and then you stack on that. You mentioned AI, so right, you need to be doing content for your website, and so AI is a great tool for creating content. Now, don't just ask AI to write your content for you and then just post it up there without having it reviewed and edited, because it gets it wrong a lot.
Right.
You know, because what is it doing? It's just looking at the internet. So it's already and a lot of times what we found is that it's hallucinating because it is getting its own information based on other AI information that's wrong. So you've got to be very careful about checking your facts before you post on your website. So that's critical. The other piece of it that I mentioned earlier is, what we call conversion advertising, which is pay-per-click or buying that space. If you do a Google search, you'll see on the very top it's sponsored links. That's pay-per-click, and that's people. Those are people that have bought those terms, and they're going to show up first over organic. But generally speaking, people will go past that to organic because organic usually has better detail about what's going on with their case or more information than just the bought sponsored space.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I used to run Google Ads. I ran it for a little bit, and there's like a lot of cheats you can do.
Yeah.
Where you can see like somebody else's successful
Yes.
ads, and you can get their SEO. And I tried that, and I got like a bunch of like Section 8 people looking for rentals and stuff, and we don't do Section 8. We don't help those individuals,
Right.
unfortunately. And like I got a ton of different leads, and it would just be like a random call at like 12 midnight, like, "Hey, can you help me find a rental?" And I'm like, "Dude, we don't do that." We don't
Right.
do
So
Section
that's
8.
what you're going to get with that.
Yeah, so you have to be really careful
You've got to
about
be very careful about it.
what you do.
You have to have a pro that, like, I don't recommend, and like I wouldn't do my own Google ad
Right.
pay-per-click program because I don't understand it. Like, we've got people that understand that business very well.
Nice. So what are really some common mistakes that you see with like lawyers and doctors? Like, is it they
That's one
spend
of them.
money or
That's one of them.
the SEO?
They'll just do the pay-per-click, and they think that's all they need to do, and they get ripped off. They end up spending, $50,000-$100,000 a month on pay-per-click ads. It's not bringing in the cases that they want.
Right.
It's bringing them junk, just like what you're
Yeah.
talking about. And so that's no good. So it's really organic is the foundation of what you need to be doing. It's great. You want to be listed up there because you want to own the page, really.
Right.
So you want to show up in the local pack. That's also critical, the local pack right there, because it's going to tell you who's close to you, right? When somebody does a search, if I just say, I need a personal injury lawyer, I was in an accident, it knows you're in Dallas, so it's going to give you the people that are closest to you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why you want to show up in the map section. And you want to, and the sponsored piece, you want to be there too, because you want to have that branding. So if you're seen like in organic, and you're also seen in local, and you're also seen in the sponsored space, then people are more likely to click on you because you're a good brand. You're everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Than if you're just in one of the places. So if you're just in, it doesn't do you any good if you're just in pay-per-click or the sponsored ads and not in organic, right? Because people will suspect, oh, this guy's just bought these keywords. So organic is the foundation. And that's based on content being added to your website, video being added to your website. If you're doing podcasts, it's really all about chunking content out there that is relevant to the types of clients or patients that you're looking for.
With your particular niche, like where do you see it going? Is it going to be more AI driven? Is it going to be more still with SEO? Because you have a pretty particular niche.
Yeah.
I think some of the guys in the studio were talking about how a lot of doctors and lawyers are kind of now getting into shooting video about practices and having like a YouTube channel and
As they should.
and shorts and different stuff.
The
Um,
smart ones do that. Yeah.
where do you guys fit in with that? Do you guys
We
just
shoot video.
okay?
We go on location, shoot video for them. I have a green screen studio. They can come in and shoot video there. We shoot commercials. We can do media buying for them, um, for both doctors and lawyers. And I encourage that, like, because now with streaming services, you can get media buying really inexpensively and really target down to your demographic and, zip codes and locations. You're not buying like the old days of media buying where, you're going to splash it on NBC, and it's going to be everywhere and you have no control. This is way more targeted and focused. So I encourage, that's kind of like phase 3 of the perfect practice system
Okay.
is getting into doing commercials and stuff like that. So once you have a brand, once your brand is, well, even before, if you got the money to do it and you want to, expose your brand out there more, that's what you want to do. You want to get your face out there.
So someone that is like, let's say a new client of yours, let's say that they have a brand, like where would you place them in that system, and like what would you start, doing to get their name out there or more clients?
Yeah,
I'm sure you've seen some breakthroughs and some different things.
sure.
Um, obviously the easiest breakthrough would be just someone that didn't have anything and then kind of starts wheeling in some clients. I've been guilty of, the Facebook ad era, right?
Right.
So like I would sit on the weekends, I wouldn't go out with my friends, and I would sit at home and try to figure out, okay, based
The
on these
Facebook
demographics, I'm
algorithm.
gonna run ads to, these
Right.
back when demographics was really big on Facebook, I could run demographics to people that just bought a house and maybe they're looking to refinance, or just, people that are searching realtor.com and trying to find a home. So like I could do a lot of stuff like that. Now, obviously, it's a little bit different, but um, what have you kind of seen in terms of your clients? Like, what has been some really great breakthroughs for them? Maybe they already had a brand and then they had another breakthrough. Like, kind of talk about that a little bit.
Sure. Well, like I said, it starts with the website. So we've got a lot of clients that have come to us that have great brands that they've been doing business, but their website is just not keeping up with them. So it starts with that. They don't have the right content on there. They're getting, and the big complaint is just like what you were saying. They're getting the wrong kinds of cases, the wrong kinds of patients.
Right.
Um, Here's an example of a podiatrist who was didn't want to accept insurance anymore, so he wanted to go cash only, cash pay. Well, that's a huge adjustment. Imagine like, oh, we don't take any insurance. You got to pay cash.
Right.
Right? I can go down to another podiatrist and they'll take my United Healthcare insurance, no problem. But this guy, because he's such a good doctor, he's brave enough to go out and do this, and he's been hugely successful. And that's a huge shift, and that's what we're getting a lot more podiatrists to go with this cash only, because the insurance companies are just so ridiculous to deal with. You're in a tough business. You're in a very competitive business, being in real estate. Man,
Very.
that is tough, tough, tough. But like I said, it starts with the website. It starts with the marketing of the website. You can refresh your brand. Even if you've got an existing brand that's out there, maybe you've already got a good website, but you don't have video. Maybe you've done video, but you've never done TV. So it's. I just had a conversation with a client yesterday. It's been a client for 10 years. About that he's got to get on TV. He's in Rhode Island, a little tiny state, right? But his firm has been around for 93 years.
Wow.
They're Kirschenbaum and Kirschenbaum, 93 years. It was his dad had it before him, and he took over. And it's like very well known in the community. And so, of course, like that's his next step. I even talked to him about doing billboards, get wherever you can get them, but they're locked up by his competitors. They're just locked up for years and years. But wherever you can get one, because his brand is where that's where he's going to get his next nut is because of his brand. Then you have other people that come to me that are just getting started. They might be leaving a big PI firm, or they might be leaving a law firm. They want to go on their own. They've got no brand. They got to get their brand started. So they're reliant on SEO, and they're reliant on people just doing those searches and coming up for those searches, right? A lot of people will type in, they might see somebody on a billboard, or they get referred. That's where most of the best cases come from, is through referral.
Mm-hmm.
So you ask, oh, Tom, I was just in an accident. Do you know a lawyer? Right? And I'm like, I know a lot of lawyers. Here's a good bunch that you should call.
Right.
So then you're going to call them. But what are you going to do first before you call?
Google.
You're going to Google them, right? You're going to check them out. You're going to see if they're really who your friend says. So that's why the website is so important. And not just the website, but people stalk lawyers, right? They're going to go check your LinkedIn. They're going to go check your social media. They're going to see, how good is this guy really? And what is his past case results? What has he gotten for people in the past? That's what they want to know. So testimonials are so important. Reviews, your Google reviews are so critical. You know this. I mean, because it's critical for your business.
Absolutely.
So all of these things have to be working congruently together in order to be successful.
So this is a question I have for you. You've been doing it for 30 some years now?
30 years, yeah.
So if you can go back in time, what would you change? Whether it be processes, jobs, situations, relationships, that you could speed up the time. I would throw you a curveball.
No, that's fine. That's good though, because it's making me think. What would I do differently? I would have probably grown my team better, and made adjustments sooner than I did. I'm a very loyal person, and so I stick with people probably longer than I should. But like right now, I'm in the best position I've ever been in.
That's great.
With my team, because now I'm really just the ambassador of the company, and I'm doing stuff like this, going out and doing TV spots and getting on podcasts with great guys like you, and really just trying to get the word out there, and visiting clients. But in terms of doing the work, I mean, I was the only guy when I first started. I was doing everything, and I actually built DSS, which is our software, our proprietary software that runs all our websites, DSS, Dynamic Self-Syndication. And I wrote that back in the late 90s for websites. And I did it really just to help me update websites faster, because there was no WordPress.
Right.
So I wrote my own CMS.
Nice.
I didn't even know really that's what it was.
Right.
But I needed something so I could because I got just so many clients so quickly that I couldn't handle it. And none of them were savvy. None of them wanted to write their own content, right? And they would just say, build me a website. And I'm like, okay, well, I need your bio, right? I need to know what you're doing. And I had to write all of it. So that was the first thing I had to do, is get content writers that could write good content. And then I had to get SEO people. Eventually, I gave over the reins of design, right? And it was every one of those giving something up was hard, because you think that you're the only guy that can do it.
Right.
And that's probably the best message is delegate faster, because if you're the smartest guy in the room, you got a problem. You want people way smarter than you guiding your company.
I agree. Tom, I appreciate you coming on the show and sharing a lot of your insight.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Chris. It's been a pleasure.
Awesome. Thank you.